Hey, happy How To Friday. This How To brought to you by Teresa Cleveland, Growth Strategies Cafe, amazing podcast, good friend of mine. We have become friends. She's hysterical. She has a super cool podcast that I get the opportunity to be on. And I was listening to an episode that I'm not on the other day, and she did a shout out to me and said, we'll have to get Mindy to talk about this. So all of that to say, How To Friday, how to quit putting things off. I'm going to say a little bit different than procrastination, but we'll see. You get to decide, is it different than procrastination? So one of the things Teresa was talking about is growing our business. And one of the things that we tend to put off in growing our business is list building. Why do we put off list building? Doesn't matter whether you have a business that you're growing, whether you list build or not. Here's the crux. Why do we put off doing X when it's best practice, when it's proven to increase success in some way, shape, or form? Because we're not seeing the gains. We're only seeing the losses in it. And your brain doesn't want to lose. And it wants to protect you from loss. So we can call this a reframe. We can call this flipping. Shout out to Angela. We can call it flipping the script. You call it whatever you want. Just do it, right? Get curious about when you see only the loss in something and not the gain. So if we're talking about list building, the loss is it's going to take me time. It's not that sexy. It's not that fun to come up with these ways and, put myself out there. Maybe it's tapping into some other things that I've got going on, where I play small or, you name it. So what's the thing that you're putting off because you're not seeing the gains? Just recognizing all the gains sometimes can be the game changer for you. So what is it? What are you putting off that you can now look at the gains, and how do you get to make them greater than the perceived loss? So I'm sure I've shared this story with you before about a client who we flipped the script on spending money versus investing. And this was spending money on kids' braces. And it was spendy, right? To spend money on her kids' braces. And every month it was such a loss. And it was just this money going out. It was going. The money was going. So how do we get to flip that script so that we feel good about it and recognize all the gains in doing this? Number one, we flipped it to the investment that she was making in her children, how this was going to set them up for inevitable success the rest of their lives, her investing. So what were the gains? Exponential. You couldn't even list all the gains, and the only perceived loss was money. And yet there was a huge return on the investment. So sometimes it's just taking that step back, right? And saying, okay, what actually are the gains here? What's going to open up? What gets to happen? Who do I get to be? Who do I get to leave behind when I start stepping into all the gains? So what are the gains from list building? What are the gains from investing? What are the gains from you fill in the blank? What are the gains from hopping on a strategy call with me? There's all gains and no losses. You get crystal clear on what you want, what you don't want, what you want to achieve. We do a roadmap for some aligned action. You get me one-on-one for 45 minutes. It's all gain. It's all gain. I'm Mindy, unlocker of your magic. What are you going to flip the script on today? What are you going to stop putting off because you're going to see all the gains in it, and you're going to create your inevitable success?